Hello, good morning, everyone. First, I want to welcome everyone to Commonpoint Queens and our Women in Tech Forum. My name is Harry Bagga. I am a technical bridge instructor at Commonpoint Queens. Today, we have Francis Ramos, program coordinator at Commonpoint Queens, Evelyn Soto, alumni from our IT vocational training, from Commonpoint Queens, Kelenda Allen-James, Assistant Vice President of Information Technology at Commonpoint Queens, and Georgie-Ann Getton, a board member at New York Tech Alliance and CEO of GSD Solutions. And last but not least, Mailen Nunez. She's an information technology veteran at the Teachers Retirement System in New York City, on the call with us. And for those of you who are watching us live, give us your undivided attention. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to start by focusing on our current circumstances in the tech ecosystem. There are many layoffs happening in the tech sector, and the job market is shifting into different directions. Per se, there's an increased demand for workforce, and the API is becoming the new end, if not already. API, application programming interface. For instance, you've probably heard about ChatGPT, Web3, blockchain technology are all part of the lateral traffic. I'm going to ask you all some questions and gain some visibility into how innovation in tech can continue or survive, keep its ball rolling, and if there are any threats that could be turned into opportunities. With that, I'd like to start with Francis Ramos, who can share how Commonpoint Queens, I'd like to call it the unique critical path in social services, has been uplifting communities, so specifically our women in tech, diversity, inclusion, and equity space. So Francis, I'm gonna pitch this first question to you. What are some social and emotional challenges faced by women in the tech industry?
Thank you for your question, Henry. Based on research, I noticed 3 recurring challenges that women in tech face. Those challenges include women experiencing bias in their workplace, causing them to leave those jobs at higher rates. Women also experience a lack of representation in leadership roles, which then causes them to seek alternative positions elsewhere, where they believe they will receive better opportunities as well as potential job mobility. The third recurring challenge I noticed was women experiencing feelings of burnt out or overwhelmness. Now, this could be due to any number of things based on the individual. For example, they may be experiencing extreme work hours, overall pressure from work, or home life.
Okay, and fundamentally speaking, the burnout and exhaustion can be inevitable, right?
Right.
Second question, what can you suggest or recommend to overcome these barriers?
I would suggest women in tech utilize their emotional intelligence in addition to the skill set that they are bringing to the workplace, and especially during an interview. I did come across an article that mentioned employers are more willing to hire and promote individuals who have a greater sense of self-awareness. That includes being transparent with your supervisor about burnout feelings. Simply talk to them about your workload or any other stressors you may be experiencing. If you are currently not in the workforce yet, highlighting areas of growth or development and your capacity and willingness to grow is a plus in an interview, especially if that question does arise. I would also suggest managing that burnout by reducing screen time. And I know it's hard, especially within this field, but if you could try and use your breaks or take some time in your day to engage with something you enjoy, whether that's reading that's not on a screen, or going for a walk, taking time to stretch and move your body is definitely a positive. Or maybe you want to catch up on any other hobbies that do not require a screen. That could be cooking or spending time with the people that you love. Lastly, I would suggest finding or creating a support group for women in tech. Being able to have discussions and form relationships with like-minded women can have an enormous positive impact on your self-esteem. And if you're looking for professional support to manage everyday stressors, Commonpoint Queens also offers mental health services. throughout Queens through our CAPE clinic. And for more information, you can visit our website at commonpointqueens.org and search CAPE clinic. That's CAPE clinic.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you.
Next, I want to bring in Evelyn Soto, who shares a marketing and technology background. She's a cloud native. Evelyn, I want to ask you first question. How has your journey been in technology since you became part of Commonpoint Queens?
My journey at Commonpoint has been a very positive experience. I mean, I came in looking for a job and I came out with a really thriving career in technology.
And you know, amazing career in technology. You're one of the success stories. So indeed, that's our our model. That's our cohesiveness. Second question: do you feel there are any challenges as you progress in your career? Can you share with us what are some of the current projects you're working on? Any tech activities that you're doing?
Well, like anything, there's always challenges in any career path you take. But I feel in technology, there's so many forums like this one that really will empower women to find their voice in terms of looking for a job, being supported, and also the training that they need. And coming to Commonpoint really helped me find my footing in that space. Some of the current projects that I'm working with on are upgrading our current phone systems, updating the server, which is something that I learned during class, rewiring and configuring printers, which is something that I did in my previous kind of life, meaning sitting next to the printer, and working on firewalls to ensure that cybersecurity is a big thing. So we're really managing our company well in terms of using those learnings that I acquired through our training.
That's amazing. So it's safe for me to say you're segmenting versus micro-segmenting in networking, transitioning into building parameters, deploying and patching systems, while the bad guys are reading a Cat in the Hat book or whatever book they're reading. Third question, what are some of your future long-term goals regarding technology?
Well, I mean, I want to continue in this space because this is a very big space for women, especially. And I was given this opportunity. So I want to continue learning as well as kind of branching out to other areas of IT, like networking, cybersecurity, and also then marrying the knowledge that I had before in my previous life in marketing and making me a well-rounded person in the technology fields.
Thank you, Evelyn. All right, now I will ask questions to our other guest speakers. Mailen, first question, can you tell us what is the teacher's retirement system? Can you give us an overview of what that entails?
Sure. Thanks, Harry, and good morning, everyone. My name is Mailen Nunez, and I would like to thank Commonpoint Queens for giving me the opportunity to participate in this tech forum. I work at the New York City Teachers Retirement System as an operation analyst, and managing projects and recurring events and supporting the general operations of the agency. For those who don't know what TRS is one of the largest pension systems in the US with more than 200,000 members, and it provides New York City educators with retirement, disability, and death benefit services.
Okay, thank you. And second, that leads us to our second question. With your experience in tech and your background in tech, what is today's focus of technology?
So yes, we've been actually modernizing our pension system in New York City teachers retirement system to provide a member-centric environment, better customer service experience, online support, and straight-through processing. This will not only save time and money, but will also improve customer satisfaction, which is very important. The focus of technology today, it's on improving the way we live, the way we work, and communicate with everyone. Some of the technologies impacting our daily lives are artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data. Other areas include the Internet of Things, 5G networks, and cloud computing. Additionally, I believe there's an increasing emphasis on cybersecurity virtual and augmented reality, and blockchain technology. All these technologies are making our lives more connected, efficient, and convenient.
And definitely that's, that's, I like to call it like the new
Yes.
frat landscape. That's what it is. And I'm gonna pitch my question to Georgie. Georgie, how has your experience been in overall in your tech career?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question, Harry. And my experience has just been amazing. I feel like I got into tech or just been interested in technology from a very young age. And as I got older, I realized, a career in this field was possible, and it looks different for everyone, right? I think some people end up being like coders and developers. I do have a little bit of coding experience, like enough to go in and read something and make some edits, but my side is more of the people side. So similar to Mailen, like working with individuals to ensure that they understand the operational systems, they understand what technologies, specifically software tools to use, and how to find other people in tech to build that community. So I really love the work that you all are doing over at Commonpoint Queens.
Thank you. Thank you, Georgie. I'm gonna go back to you, Mailen, regarding informatics and healthcare. Do you see a shift in IT industry regarding that?
Sorry, forget I was muted. Well, definitely, for instance, in the healthcare industry, there has been a shift towards the use of informatics and technology, as you mentioned, Harry. And this is more to improve patient care, streamline operations, and reduce cost. Overall, the healthcare industry is becoming more data-driven, and the use of technology is playing a key role in the transformation. And we've seen it, a lot of technologies like mobile health apps, digital tools that allow patients to access their health information and communicate with the healthcare providers on a daily basis if you want to. I think that's all.
Okay. Kelenda, if you can chime in with some experiences with diversity in tech overall and in this conversation.
Okay, thank you. So diversity in tech is changing slowly. I've been specializing in nonprofit technology for 20 years. Back in the day, there was only 2 wireless questions on the CompTIA A+ exam. And now we're like in Web 3. So entering into tech, no matter your background, a core component is being a lifelong learner. Technology is changing from day to day. You will never finish one program and know all you need for technology. You're going to be looking to update your skills on a schedule of minimum once every 18 months, be it in-person learning, self-learning, on-the-job learning, or going to more certifications or in-person learning, because the nature of technology is ever changing. In the case of diversity, like after the George Floyd and the social upheavals that happened in recent times, many organizations have made a public declaration to at least post their diversity numbers for the public to consume and to see them going up. But what is occurring is doubling the number 1 only gets you to 2 individuals. So because the diversity numbers have started so low, the doubling and the tripling still doesn't get us to full equity. And then when we look at the range of the company, there is not necessarily enough diversity funneling up into leadership where decision-making, strategic planning, and equity can truly be seen in the workforce. Part of that problem is not casting a wide enough net when you are looking for candidates. Come to a place like Commonpoint Queens, which is accessing a full breadth of the community at all times. When you enter our workforce pool, you will automatically get an organic full extension of the community that is available to work. But if you go to traditional places like a 4-year college looking for candidates, you will miss many of the workforce who did not have access to the economics that it costs to go to a 4-year degree, but you can get much more talent of diversity if you have entry points like a training class, which costs far less, and you will see more diverse candidates.
Thank you, Kelenda. And I'm gonna bring our focus back onto Women in Tech Initiative. To Georgie, how have you seen the industry shifting in that paradigm that shed some light on women in tech?
Yeah, so I would say, I'll give like a perspective on the last 10 years, right? When I first started really going out there, meeting people, networking, and trying to build my personal network and just find other women in tech, there were certain groups. And then over the last 10 years, those groups have increased, but similar to what Kelenda said, right? It's the groups are increasing, they're still trying to find resources, but I still think a lot of those bigger companies are looking in the wrong places, right? There's so many amazing groups, whether it be on Facebook, in-person meetup groups, and just a lot of initiatives championing for women in tech, but the industry as a whole does not really build systems to support really women in tech. So whether it looks like different maternity leave programs, right? A lot of companies are now changing that to look like more maternity and paternity leave, just overall wellness benefits, kind of running back to what Francis said, like burnout is definitely a big issue there, as well as just when you come into these teams, because they're so heavily male dominated, there may be a comfort level, a culture level shift that needs to happen in order for that person to feel comfortable on the team. And what I'm seeing as well, and I guess this is kind of like the last point I'll add here, is that the companies aren't moving at the pace which is necessary to welcome the women to the team. So there are programs, but I don't think a lot of people are getting the concept. If you go to a women in tech conference, right, who's in that room? Mostly women. And I think it should be actually the opposite, right? You should be people that want to learn how to best interact and build teams that are diverse and truly diverse at the core, and not just diverse for the numbers. Those people need to be in the room to recognize what the problems are and then think of creative solutions within themselves to solve those problems, right? Because if you go to these conferences, it's really preaching to the choir. We know what the problem is, we have some solutions, but we're not in the position to solve the problems. We're highlighting them, but it's like now the next phase is everyone else realizing that this is a problem and we want to be a part of the solution.
Thank you, Georgie. Another thought to this, with women in tech, but also Web3, ChatGPT, coming along in the traffic. What are some of your thoughts on e-commerce infrastructure, tech ecosystem? Where do you think our tech is moving forward into, Georgie?
Yeah, so this is an amazing question. And I joke to people all the time that, and people are surprised when I tell them I have not interacted with ChatGPT. And there's like a small piece of fear there, and not in like, okay, AI, robots, machine learning is gonna attack us, but a fear in the sense that I think we are moving a little too fast, right? A lot of the results that people have been pushing out is saying how ChatGPT can replace individuals and, make things twice as fast. And I think we already live in an economy that is really, really fast. So that's where innovation is great and it's moving fast. But what I realized is that people are forgetting the basics, the fundamentals. So where you have programs like, and I'm a mention Commonpoint Queens here, that teaches you the fundamentals, right? Like, let's break it down step by step. And then when you go to the next phase, you can continuously learn, like Kelenda said, right? Technology, this industry is really about a love of learning and being curious, right? To explore things, to try things, to kind of mess up, right? Everyone here has failed at something at some point in their career. Even when we come on, right? We use Zoom a million times and there's always going to be a small tech issue that happens, and we'll come up with a solution. But I think understanding the mechanics of that, understanding problem solving, understanding, loving learning is what we need to focus on, versus people just jumping into this new technology without that how can I say that discretion at the forefront, right? People that just want to build out these big solutions without understanding the basics, the initial formula. So I'm a little scared around how fast we're moving, with a lot of people skipping over the basic steps, because as we saw in the pandemic, no matter how fast we move, things can crash instantly and scarily. And so that's kind of like my warning, my visions around it. But I love the innovation that's happening. I love how we're exploring and challenging new norms and digitizing things, like Francis and Mailen mentioned, and even Evelyn mentioned, using this technology to improve our lives and make it smoother, but also being cognizant of the dangers, right? At both ends, you have to be careful not to go too far, but also not to be afraid to explore it at the same time.
Thank you, Georgie. And I'm going to dig a little deeper into organizational policies, organizational models, and processes. Kelenda, if you may have touched on it briefly earlier, can you share your thoughts on this workplace policies, organizational models, and processes?
Yes.
How has that changed in the sector in tech?
So with the pandemic creating more work from home opportunities, HR and technology have had deeper conversations to make sure that workplace productivity is still like increasing and working at the levels that we expect as in person, as well as making sure that the cybersecurity that you have in the building translate to the cybersecurity you have at home. To make sure that your at-home workspace is just as secure and private and HIPAA compliant as your in-office experience. So these are the conversations that we are having. And with cybersecurity and ransomware and insurance rates going to insane levels, not all organizations have the budgets to keep up with technology at the pace that it's offering. So there will be multiple looks and experiences from company to company based on the time, resources, and budget that can be invested into security and the worker homework experience. And so many of the things that are happening now is managers are getting more training on how to manage a remote workforce or a hybrid workforce to solve some of the questions that you miss. For example, when you're having an office party, there's going to be the people who are enjoying the cake in the break room. We have to remember to offer those who work at home a seamless gift card so they can enjoy the cake on the Zoom with us. Things like that shows how no matter how fast technology goes, the human condition does not change and always has to be addressed.
Thank you, Kelenda. And this is also, in other words, focusing on how organizations are infinitely scaling their projects, their motives and current practices. Now I'm going to focus on a question. I like to have thoughts from everyone. How is blockchain, the metaverse, Facebook, Web3 data affecting our daily lives?
I would say it depends on where your daily life starts. In 2019, 16% of New York City households did not have access to broadband technology. So if you don't have enough internet for a video class, you do not have enough internet to be in the metaverse to see a concert. If you do not have enough infrastructure to have 30 students test online in your school building, you do not have enough infrastructure to enter the matrix. So I do feel like as a city and as a nation, we're going to have to spend more money in infrastructure before the full verse of the community is able to access these new things. I believe the affluent are accessing and interacting with these every day. But if you do not have access to online banking or phone banking, you are still talking to a person at the currency exchange. You're having a person-to-person moment involving lots of paper. So I would say the future of the internet has not affected the community evenly.
Thank you, Kelenda. Mailen, any thoughts?
Sure. What I think about blockchain, metaverse, and Web3, oh my God, it's really affecting our lives in a positive and negative way. I think these technologies are still in the early stages of development, but as Georgie said, everything is changing and it's kind of scary. But I believe it has the potential to change the way we live and interact in a digital way, in a positive way. So it could bring more security and privacy in our lives and enable new ways of interacting and engaging with other people. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, Mailen. Georgie, I'll come to you.
Yeah, thank you. And, definitely agree with what Kelenda and Mailen said about the access, right? We're not all accessing and interacting with it is the first thing that we need to figure out how to get an equitable playing field around, as well as, just making sure the players are people that we want to be in charge of these things. As we saw recently, on the blockchain, the cryptocurrency that was built, FTX. It was just all a sham. So like, how can we make sure that what's happening is really happening? Because if somebody doesn't understand what's happening, you could tell them a bunch of words and just use large language to confuse a person, and then say, hey, like, this is the next big thing, invest, or, let me show you how to do something, but you're not telling the truth. So we have to just make sure integrity, equity, and just opportunity is at the forefront of all of this technology, so that way everyone could actively take a part in it, or at least understand it and are willing to learn it and willing to say, I may not want to embark on this part of it, but at least I know what it does. I know how it works. And if I wanted to, I could, but I so choose not to. So just being able to give that option and allow us to play around with it without feeling compelled to be involved in every single thing. Because that's another thing, right? Just understanding it is good, but you don't have to be completely indulged and involved in every single part of it.
Thank you, Georgie. I have a call of action. This keynote will stay on our page online, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Number one, check out our IT vocational training programs at Commonpoint Queens. You need to think about if you really want to be in technology, explore our endpoint. And this is for those of you who are watching at home or at our Facebook page. With that, I'd like to special thank our panelists and conclude this forum. And I would like to shout out to Jared Mintz and Doug Bennett for assisting me in putting this together. Thank you all for watching us. I'm gonna leave a little bit of room for anybody else if you wanna leave any final notes, closing notes, please go ahead.
Kelenda Allen-James. I'm on Kelenda, as Kelenda the Tech on all social media. And my call to action is, please explore technology either in the personal or the occupational. All our voices need to be heard in the technology space. So when we turn things over to our artificial intelligence, it's not built on bias by mistake. When we are not participating, the artificial intelligence does not have enough data to be effective. So your input, your face, your comments all help us build better artificial intelligence.
Thank you, Kelenda.
Yeah, I'll add some final words. Georgie-Ann Getton on LinkedIn, or GSD with Georgie-Ann on all social media, folks want to follow up. But it's just take time with it, right? You are allowed to go at a pace that makes sense for you. Yes, tech is moving fast, but once you develop a love for learning, beyond anything else, I would say that is the focus. Then whatever technology, whatever opportunity comes in front of you, you'll be able to adapt to it, be able to be open to learning about it. So that is the priority that I tell everyone to lead with. Just figure out how to love learning and figure out your learning style, so that way you can be a part of whatever comes next. And whatever is happening now too.
Thank you, Georgie. Yeah.
Hi, I just want to say a few words. Just want to say thank you again, Commonpoint Queens, for having me here. Thank you, Harry, for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And just to continue learning, everyone. I know technology is changing, and I totally agree with Kelenda and Georgie in terms of all this different future training that we're having. It's never ending. So we have a lot to go. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, Evelyn Soto, I just wanted to say, don't be afraid of technology. Continue to learn, because that's the main driver, is to learn. And if you're open to that, there's so many great possibilities that can happen to you. So continue to learn, and like what the ladies have said, it's ever evolving. So you're gonna have to continue to learn from your job and reading and just opportunities out there. So thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Any final words, Frances?
Just to echo everyone's sentiments, knowledge is power, right? So especially within this field, it's a field that you are continuing to learn. You have to keep up to date on the technology that's constantly evolving. So keep up the studying, keep up all your hard work and any attempts that you are taking to get into this field or to progress in the field.
Thank you, Frances. And this will conclude our forum. And thank you again for joining us. Thank you, everyone who's watching at Facebook, for joining us. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.